right, thank you. So welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of, what's today? May 25th. Hold on, I'm going to read a message. So good evening and welcome to the East Fishkill Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of May 25th, 2021. Due to the public health and safety concerns associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, the board is meeting via video conference using the Zoom platform in accordance with the governor's executive's orders extended to the best of my knowledge through June 7th at this point. There is no in-person public participation tonight. Rather, the public can watch the meeting live through Zoom, online and on cable. Tonight, notice of tonight's meeting was published as required and posted on the town website. The web notice included instructions for members of the public to access the meeting and participate in any public hearings. For each of the public hearing applications on the agenda this evening, public comments will be taken at the appropriate time after the board has asked any of its own questions. Please note that tonight's meeting is being recorded and a transcript will be available at a later date. We start our meeting tonight with some administrative issues and have several that have applications with public hearings where the board has already held, where we've already seen the applications, reviewed them for the first time, but now we want to hear from the neighbors as we recognize that you know these areas better than we do. I will introduce each agenda item so that everyone knows which item we are working on. Finally, we will get to reviews, which are generally the first time we review applications, although there are a couple where we needed to get some additional information after our first review of the application. There will be no public comment on any of these reviews this evening. Neighbors will be noticed on these applications at the appropriate time for some future meeting. If you wish to comment on an application that has a public hearing, when we get to that item on the agenda and I ask for public comment, please do the following depending on whether you're on the phone or online. Members of the public attending online via the Zoom app may use the raise hand feature at the appropriate time if you would like to make a comment. The feature is located at the bottom of the screen. Those attending via telephone can press *9. The meeting host will see that your hand is raised or that you have pressed *9 and will unmute those waiting one at a time so that you can speak. In either case, please state your name when you are called upon to speak. Just a couple ground rules in order to keep the meeting orderly and ensure we get a clear recording, please follow. One, when you are given access to speak, please state your name and address. It is helpful for the board members to know if you are a neighbor to an application. Two, board members, I will call on you one at a time to speak to avoid everyone speaking at once. If you wish to speak at any time when I'm not calling on you, just raise your hand. You can use the raise hand function or literally raise your hand on the screen and I should be able to see you that way. And board members, I do ask, please mute yourselves when you're not speaking. Everybody else is already muted, only the host will unmute them. But it's especially important if you're not the only one at home and there's any kind of background noise at your house. And for the most part, we will be using roll call voting for purposes of all board motions. This is to ensure that the record is clear. So thank you in advance to everyone for your patience and bear with us as we conduct our meetings this year. I think we are now a year into the Zoom. I think our first meeting was actually Zoom, June of 2020. So, you know, with this May one, we are now a year into it. So thank you. Let's get right into the meeting at hand. So now I got to get, again, this is part of what you got to bear with. Now I got to get to find the agenda online. All right. Okay. So our first, well, actually we should do a roll call at this point. So I'm going to acknowledge that I see James Meyer on the screen and Aziz Assen. I do not yet see Rocco Limatone, correct? Rocco, if you are here, please identify yourself. Okay, so we do have one more board member at this time. We actually do have a brand new board member, but his first meeting will actually be the June meeting. So we will welcome our new board meeting next month. So, but we do have a quorum, so we can get started. I'm going to ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so our upcoming meetings are going to be Tuesday, June 22nd and Tuesday, July 27th. We do have one set of minutes to approve where I reviewed them and made a couple of suggested amendments to them. So are there any other amendments to the agenda, to the minutes from our April meeting?
Accept the amendments as amended, accept the minutes as amended.
Okay, motion, so motion to approve the minutes as amended.
And the second on that, no proposals.
Good, thank you. Everybody in favor, raise your hands. Thank you, because it's only the three of us, so I can see all three of us on the screen. All right, so the minutes are, okay, so we have no decisions this evening, so we're going to get right into the public hearings. Our first public hearing is Appeal 3991, Morrow Crane. Morrow Crane, 216 Lime Kiln Road, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 20-foot height variance to maintain an outdoor storage pile of 30 feet pursuant to section 194-55.2A of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, Rocco's here too. Good. Okay, so for the, Jackie, we acknowledge for the minutes that Rocco has joined us. Good. Okay.
And I'll update my Zoom.
Okay, well, you're here now. You're good. So we just opened the public here on Morrow Crane. Whoever is here for this, can you please raise your hand so that Michael can acknowledge you?
Hi, this is Drew Gambles here from Keen & Bean on behalf of Morrow Equipment. I'm also
Okay.
joined by Terry Ann Hahn.
Hi, this is Terry Hahn, Principal LADA PC Land Planners. We're the site planners for the project.
Good, thank you. Is anybody else joining you? Where is this at?
We have in the audience today, Peter Jurin, who's the President and Chief Operating Officer for Morrow, and Jim Kotry, the Facilities Manager. They might want to stay in the background, but they're here if you have any questions for them.
Okay, so let's put it this way. If in fact there's something that comes up and they think it's appropriate for them to comment, folks, just raise your hand, and then the Michael Cunningham, our attorney, will unmute you at the appropriate time to be able to answer any questions that your professionals might not be able to answer. So the matter at hand is Morrow Crane, who's currently in Westchester along the Taconic Parkway, is looking to move to East Fishkill along a site, Lime Kiln Road, right off of 84, where it would be very, very convenient for them to be able to transport cranes. They provide industrial crane equipment to build structures and other things. And so they've already been before us for a different matter. A couple months ago, you are before the planning board at this point, although I'm not sure where that's at, but that's fine. Let them do their business. But the issue arose that the crane pieces themselves need to be stockpiled on the site. And right now, the town's code allows a stockpile or materials to be stocked up to a height of 10 feet. But these are large crane parts. And so in and of themselves, stacking just a couple of them, we get to the height of the requested height of 30 feet very quickly. This is a very large site. It's over 25 acres or thereabouts. And again, it's along I-84 and Lime Kiln Road down by where New York State DOT is. So it's not exactly very visible to the general public, and especially because this area where they're talking about storing this stockpile is deep into the site. You are, as part of your site plan review, you're going to be doing all sorts of stuff to that site, including putting some screening up. I believe you mentioned there was going to be a fence that was going to go, not necessarily in this area, but another. So there's going to be a lot of work getting done to the site before the stockpile would appear and before the operations will really begin there. So with that said, again, it's necessary for this pile of crane parts that may come up to a total of 30 feet to allow the operation to work successfully there. Is there anything else you wish to add?
I think that's it. I do have pictures at the ready in case there are any specific questions that come up, but you did such a great job summarizing. I don't think it's, needed, but it is available and I have it at the ready if that's necessary.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So are there any questions from board members?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So the items that are going to be stockpiled up to approximately 30 feet, those are crane parts. Are these painted? Are these just rusted crane parts that are stacked on top of one another? That's 1, 2, whereabouts on the property are you expecting? I mean, I was looking at the plans, but whereabouts more or less is this stockpile going to be? Towards what end of the property?
Sure. So it actually might be beneficial if I show you the pictures. Would that be okay?
Yes, please.
I'll share my screen. I won't go through you'll see it'll pop up as a PowerPoint. I won't show you the whole PowerPoint. We'll just get to the relevant pictures. So you'll see the crane components. They're going to go behind the building. This is where the rail is for the crane, and the components are going to be in this area behind the building on the back of the property.
And that's facing, what street was that? I couldn't-
Yeah, give us the bearings. I see Lime Kiln Road is demarcated on the left.
Yep, Lime Kiln Road is right there. I think, let's go back. I have a better,
That's the other street.
you actually have Lime Kiln Road right here. This is going to be the back of the property. What is right here?
That's the access and exit to 84.
84.
Right, it's not an actual road, it's just that access.
It's the ramps, yeah.
Ramp.
So,
Is that the ramp?
Yes.
because that's DOT on the left in the upper left-hand corner.
Right,
here.
yeah, okay. So,
Yep, and then,
I'm sorry, so pretty much that stuff is gonna be visible from the 84 side.
But it's really not, Rocco, because if you think of the elevations of the site, that site is down. You're going down the hill on Lime Kiln if you're going from the I-84 exit ramp or entrance ramp down Lime Kiln headed toward Fishkill Farms and other places down that way. So actually the elevation is down. I don't think it's going to be visible. Terry, do you know?
I mean,
Yeah,
I drive past that a couple times a day.
Sure. If, Drew, could you go to the site plan again with the dimensions there? Yes. So if I could, the area that it's pointing where it says 180 feet to the rail and 280 feet to the building, that area along the back of that section is all going to be heavily screen planted as per our discussions with the planning board. And there is an existing fairly heavy vegetative buffer along the 84 ramps. In addition to the fact that we're actually going to be lowering the site a little bit so that it'll all be lower than the trees.
My concern is creating some sort of an eyesore of rusted parts.
Okay, so let's
That's my concern.
let's address that so you can see what it looks like. They keep very good care of their parts because, you know, this is their reputation and this is their job, so that they are painted parts, and they just happen to be larger than 10 feet. You know, each segment is larger than 10 feet. So when they stack them on top of one another, they are clean parts and clean metal.
Again, these are crane parts that you're using on a regular basis.
That's correct.
You
yep,
can't be
absolutely.
You can't be letting that rust, the
Nope.
crane will fall apart.
No, anything that starts to see, you know, to show any kind of what you're talking about here, wear, then that gets cycled into, and there are new ones that come through. So it's not a storage pile for unused material.
Right, and they're inspected after each use. So, you know, they're looked at before they're going into this pile. So it will not become just a garbage dump.
And has there been any safety issues with this collapsing or anything when you're storing these items?
Not that I'm aware of, but the location of the parts is not a area where human beings travel through. It's not like you don't have a forklift or things running through that particular area. Everything is lifted by the rail, so it's not that sort of safety issue.
Yeah, so we actually had a prior hearing regarding that rail system. I
That's
don't know
correct.
if Ms. Lematone, you were a part of that or not, but that was something that was considered as to whether that was a structure or not in the placing of the rail. But
Yep.
I mean, obviously the crane itself that's going to be stacking these materials is taller than the 30 feet that they're looking for. But
That's correct. I noticed that Peter Jurin from the Moro is here. Peter, did you wish to, you should identify yourself for the record, and if you wish to speak.
Yeah, hi, my name is Peter Jurin. I'm the president of Moro Equipment. I think I could probably answer your questions in especially in regards to safety on that. When we stack this equipment, we have designed special brackets so that each component that is stacked on top of another is secured. So the bracket actually locks the next piece above it to the piece below it. So we have stability in all the equipment that we do stack. We do have to lift pieces above and over the stacks, but the stacks, as far as stability goes, we have special devices that are designed specifically to lock those in place.
Thank you, Peter.
Yes, thank you. That was definitely helpful. So Rocco, any other questions?
No, those are my two concerns. You meant, one other thing, you did mention something about vegetation and so forth, but the vegetation is not 30 feet high though. So it's not really covering, the whole pile, let's say.
Terry, can you, or Drew, can one of you give us again the dimensions? I know we talked about it last month, but I don't have them in my head. So it's 180 feet in from the edge of the property line, where essentially where the I-84 entrance ramp is, to where the rail is. And that's a vegetated area there. But what's the drop of elevation, the topography difference between the I-84 roadway and where the site ground would be at that point?
We are doing a minimum of a 3-foot cut on our property, and then the 84, the ramps are, I would say, another 6-8 feet higher than that. And then there is an existing hedgerow along the 84 ramps that are probably 40 feet tall. So our planting will supplement that existing vegetative hedgerow, so that if should anything happen as our planting grows up, and in case DOT decides to take some of that stuff down, then we'll eventually have a full cover over that 30 feet. And it's all evergreen spruces and, screen planting. So it's just, it'll provide for potential transition over time.
Because my concern is, because on this board, we're very specific when a homeowner wants to put something up, they want to put a fence. And we're very specific with the homeowners when they put a long row of fence up, that they put some sort of landscaping in front of it.
Mhm.
So, we need to also, you're a business, so we need to also give you the same, not give you the same, but make sure you guys are doing the same thing that we're demanding of homeowners, just to keep things fair.
Understood. Our proposed
Please, Todd.
planting is also 8 to 10 feet tall. So
I'm sorry?
we're going 8 to 10 feet tall with our proposed spruce trees. So they're pretty substantial.
Yeah, 8 to 10 feet. So they grow about 6-7 inches a year. So it's going to be a while before they're 40 feet.
Well, yeah,
There'll
but
be some time.
but there is existing plant material there to provide that cover. And, we do acknowledge that the existing plant material is more deciduous than it is evergreen. So that's why we're doing evergreen planting.
Right. Okay. That's the only questions I had.
Any other board members with questions?
I'm good.
Again, just, not muted now. Again, that's going to be behind the building, so obviously the stack pile is going to be facing the road, but how tall is the building itself is going to be more than 30 feet, correct?
There is a portion of the building that goes to 42 feet, which would block the view, for example, from Lime Kiln Road, so that it'll still read as a little bit taller than those piles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against the request from Morrow Crane, 216 Lime Kiln Road, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 20-foot height variance to maintain an outdoor storage pile of 30 feet? If so, please press *9 if you're on the phone, or please press the raise hand function on this lower part of your screen.
I just promoted somebody.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, okay. I live back in this area here, and I got several concerns. First of all, is how long are these pieces, and how much noise is going to be generated as you stack, unstack, and what hours of the day of operation. And it appears that the only access to this site is going to be via Lime Kiln Road. Now, Lime Kiln Road at that point is a very, very narrow road. And yeah, you know, I don't get it.
Okay, I need to have you focus that this application is also before the planning board. The planning board is responsible for site plan issues. So the access, the site plan, the landscaping, really all things of that nature are the subject and the purview of the planning board. This board is only looking at the height of the stockpile. So I will entertain the question about the noise associated with the stacking the pile. The gentleman from Morrow Crane or Drew, Terry, if one of you wants to answer that, that would be great. About how noisy is the equipment?
And what are the hours of operation?
Again, that's a planning board question. That's not a zoning board question. That doesn't relate to
Gotcha.
the height of the
Okay.
stockpile.
Okay.
I just have to keep you focused on the issue that's before us. We can't overstep on another board's review.
Okay.
This is Terry Hahn again. Peter, did you want to address the noise question?
Yeah, the crane itself is electric, so it's absolutely very quiet, does not use diesel. The crane is, you probably from the street, you wouldn't even be able to hear it.
Okay, and
So
how,
this crane will be, this
how about
crane
when
will
you're
be
stacking though the
permanently,
metal pieces on top of each other?
so this crane will be permanently constructed on, or erected on site there.
Yes, and again, that's not what's we're here for a public hearing for tonight.
And how high is the crane going to be? If the stack is going to be 30 feet, how high is the crane going to be?
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, but that's not what tonight's public hearing is about.
But it's a height variation. So what do you,
The height variation only relates to the stockpile. All right, it does not relate to the crane, to the rail, to the other equipment that's going to be on site. So we need to keep any questions you have focused on the stockpile itself. They're allowed by code 10 feet. They're asking for 30 feet. That's the only difference. So.
I hear you. Okay. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I live here. It's a rural area.
Were you noticed about the planning board public hearing? Because that would have
I was not aware of that. No,
concerns. Okay.
no. Unfortunately, I was not aware of that. And apparently, by the way you're sounding and where this meeting is, they've already given their approval.
I can't say that. I truly don't know. Terry or Drew, one of you might
The
know.
site plan approval was granted. At the
Oh,
planning board level.
okay. All right, but again, after a public hearing and after the planning board's review of all the elements of a site plan.
That is correct, Chair. Last week, they received a negative declaration and site plan approval, and all the necessary notice provisions were followed.
Okay. All right, are there any other comments or questions? Anybody else wants to comment on this?
If anybody else has a question or comment, please raise your hand. I don't see any other hands.
All
I
right,
make a
so
motion for closed and reserved.
we have a resolution if you want to
I
offer.
don't have a copy of it. I was looking for it.
Jackie, did you email out the resolutions?
I don't have it either.
Yeah, I don't think I got a final copy of them.
Okay, hold on one second.
Hold on, let me see.
I can't get onto my computer with,
All right, hold on. Let me go back to Tuesday.
The absence of such, I would second Aziz's motion.
he sent
All right,
them today too. Norma.
You what?
Sent them out to me today. Morning, did I get some?
You got them this morning, but I sent them yesterday.
Okay.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, today I did not get anything from Jackie. I did get one from Norma, the ZBA minutes. I'm looking at the list of emails, but unless it was from other email address or something. Jim, or
Bear with us. Hold on.
Yeah.
did anybody else get it? I mean, I'm just asking them
No,
if they got.
To my knowledge, I did not receive it.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I have it. I'll read Morillo.
Oh, no, I did not get any of their decisions.
That's what we're understanding, that they were not emailed out to board members, but I have the draft that was reviewed ahead of time. So, all right, so appeal number 3993, applicant Hector Murillo. Sorry, wrong one. Sorry. Let's get to the right one. Let me make sure I have the right one. Yesterday. Did this on Vesca's, Kelly. Oh, I hope I still have it.
Again, if you do a close and reserve and mail it out tomorrow, I guess we have to vote on it next month, I guess then.
Right, that would be the issue. Jackie, I don't have this one. Jackie, do you have a paper copy of it that you could read it?
I think she might have run to go and get them.
Oh, okay. I do have a couple of them, but I don't have all.
Michael, do you have a copy of it?
I'm searching for it too.
Okay, because I'd rather you
Yeah.
read it and we can, I mean, because other.
Michael, I
coming
did
from an
send it
attorney.
out. Did I send it to you and Jackie last? No, that one, see, this one I didn't have any comments on. That's why I didn't send it to you. I didn't have to resend it back to you. So if you have the one that you and or Jackie did in the first. that
Just
one I-
received it from Jackie.
Okay, all right, good.
So everyone should, at least should have it now.
Okay,
No, but that's just for Noro. There's others also.
right, she'll get the other.
Yeah,
documents.
I have the one from Morrow. Do you have it?
I have the one from Noro in front of me.
Okay.
Okay, this is appeal number, this is the appeal number 3991. Applicant is Moro Equipment Company requesting a 20-foot height variance from the requirement of section 194-55.2A of the zoning ordinance to maintain a 30-foot high outdoor storage pile of crane equipment. Property is located at 216 Limekiln Road, the property. Resolution offered by zoning board member Aziz Hassan. Whereas Moro Equipment Company LLC, Moro or the applicant is the contract vendee for the purchase of real property in the town of East Fishkill located at 216 Limekiln Road, Hopewell Junction, currently owned by Winchester 84 LLC. And whereas Morrow is a nationally recognized crane rental equipment company with offices throughout the United States. And whereas the applicant's business is providing a crane rental to the construction industry, and whereas Morrow is seeking to relocate and expand its equipment facility from its current location in Millwood, New York, to the town of East Fishkill, and whereas Morrow previously applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals, ZBA, in 2018 for an interpretation of the town's zoning ordinance to differentiate its proposed yard crane from a structure as defined in section 194-3 of the Code of the Town of East Fishkill zoning ordinance pursuant to Appeal 3889. And whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals determined that the yard crane itself, meaning the electrically powered mobile machine that is used to move the rental crane equipment, does not meet the definition for a structure as defined in section 194-3 of the zoning ordinance, and therefore is not subject to the height limitation as set forth in the zoning ordinance. And whereas the zoning board of whereas the ZBA further determined that the rail system that the yard crane moves on, which consists of rails on top of concrete, meets the definition for a structure as defined in section 194-3 of the zoning ordinance, and therefore is subject to the applicable height limitations set forth in the zoning ordinance. And whereas the applicant is not requesting a height variance for the rail system, and whereas the local law number 2 of 2020 added a section to the town's zoning ordinance known as section 194-55.2A, which states in part that no material storage pile shall exceed a height of 10 feet. And whereas the applicant is now applying to the ZBA for a variance from this section to allow the crane rental equipment to be stacked up to 30 feet in height, and whereas no lighting would be located in the storage area, and whereas the property is extremely large, totaling approximately 26 acres, it is predominantly surrounded by very large trees, and residential properties are not in the immediate vicinity of the property. And whereas the storage area is approximately 410 feet away from Limekiln Road, and all equipment stored will be in an orderly manner. And whereas the applicant is proposing screen planting, and whereas it is an unlisted action under seeker, and whereas the town board served as the lead agency and issued a negative declaration at its May 18, 2021 meeting, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on May 20th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on May 25th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the property is very large, the storage area will be covered by trees and is screen planting. The storage area is located more than 400 feet away from the road, and the use is in conformance with the industrial zoning of the property. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means due to the size of the crane rental equipment. The variance would be deemed substantial, but this is mitigated by the fact that the storage area will not be visible from neighboring properties. The variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions, as the equipment is movable and has no environmental impact. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Morrow Equipment Company LLC for a 20-foot variance from the requirements of section 194-55.2A of the zoning ordinance in order to maintain an outdoor storage pile of crane equipment of 30 feet. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Okay, before we take a second, procedural issue here. Okay, number one, we did not close the public hearing. So first off, I need a motion and an action to actually close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you. Second? Raise your hand, Rocco or Jim, to close the public hearing. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor of closing the public hearing, raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, public hearing is now closed. Before I get a second on this again, I also just need to ask a question of Michael. It says the town board acted as lead agency. Number one, they didn't meet on May 18th because that was a week ago. That would have been the planning board.
Planning board.
But I don't remember us getting circulation for lead agency. So did they really act as lead agency? Because if they did, we wouldn't need to do any neg deck. Forget it being an unlisted action. Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say the planning board did act as lead agency, and to my knowledge, they did circulate notice to be lead agency to all
Okay,
involved boards.
Was this back before we did our initial interpretation of whether the rail was a structure or not?
No.
Was it recently?
If I might,
It was after. Yeah.
I believe the notice went out in, I think, December.
All right, I don't remember us getting a notice. Because why are we doing our own secret
So
here?
we'll get rid of that part then. That was
Okay, because I am just, I want to be clear. It's definitely not the town board, was definitely not lead agency. So why don't we, Aziz, why don't you strike that paragraph from your motion?
Okay, so moved.
All right, so with that stated, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you, Rocco. So votes as follows, Jim,
Aye.
Aziz,
Aye, as amended.
thank you, Rocco,
Aye.
and myself, aye. So the motion with that one paragraph struck in is approved, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right, folks, have a good
Thank
evening.
you, everyone. I
Thank you.
appreciate all your time.
All right. All right, so item number 2 is appeal number 3992, Stephen O'Neill. Stephen O'Neill, 3 Kelly Court. Stormville is requesting a 9-foot sideline variance for a proposed 220 square foot addition pursuant to the schedule of bulk regulations of the zoning ordinance. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so Mr. O'Neill is looking to do an addition off of his house. The addition is only going to be about 10 feet off the foundation toward off the back of the house. But I guess the house is already pretty close to the property. And one of the reasons that there's a little bit of urgency here, just because Mr. O'Neill's house sustained some significant damage in an ice storm this winter. And so when we spoke to him last month, because we did have the opportunity to see this application last month, he had to, actually had some extensive indoor damage and did not have a usable kitchen. But there was discussion about where the stairs were going to be. And exactly what the variance needed was going to be. So, Mr. O'Neill, if you could identify yourself, raise your hand. Oh, there you are. Okay, we have you here. Okay, so you can just take us through at this point, because there was a little bit of confusion about really what you were looking to do last month. So if you could just confirm for us exactly what we're doing today. What you're
Yeah,
looking for.
so you were exactly right about the extension. It's going to be 10 feet off the foundation in the back. So the question is the steps, because of the angle of the house, is going to be going further into the setback. So I had my architect, and he talked with the surveyor, and they plugged in the numbers, because he's still in the design process for the rest of the drawings, but he factored in the stair, what we'll do with the stairs on the bottom, which would be a 3-foot platform. And then I believe it's, well, this is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 steps upgrade. I think the steps length, if I remember correctly, was something about 6.5 feet or so to go up that grade. It's about 42 inches underground, so you'll be coming up. So that would leave us, if you have the survey there, that would leave, it's just under 10 feet from the extension. So that would put us at 22.3 feet off of the property line. And that would be underneath the 9-foot variance that I was asking for.
Okay. And the addition, it's 23 feet long. Obviously, I would think the siding, the exterior of this addition is going to match the existing house. You're not going to want anything looking out of the ordinary there. So,
Absolutely.
and the use
And
of the addition is going to be what?
Kitchen and dining room.
Okay. Questions or comments for board members?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All set.
Okay. Thank you. So is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Stephen O'Neill, 3 Kelly Court, Stormville, requesting a 9-foot sideline variance for a proposed 220 square foot addition? If so, please press *9 if you're on the phone, or use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen.
No hands are raised.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. So the public hearing is closed. If somebody wishes to offer.
Rocco, you want to go?
I don't have it. I do not have that one.
I have it, I can do it. Okay, this is appeal number 3992. Applicant is Stephen O'Neill, requesting a 9-foot sideline variance from the requirements of the schedule of bulk regulations of the zoning ordinance for a proposed 220 square foot addition. The property is located at 3 Kelly Court, Stormville, New York. A resolution offered by zoning board member Aziz Hassan, whereas the applicant has applied to the building department for a proposed 220 square foot addition to his house, and whereas this has a necessary request for a 9-foot sideline variance from the schedule of bulk regulations, and whereas pine trees exist along the property line providing natural screening, and whereas this is a type 2 action under seeker, and whereas a legal notice was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on May 20th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on May 25th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the property will remain residential in nature. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means due to the layout of the house. The variance should be deemed substantial, but this is mitigated by the fact that addition will be in line with the site of the house. The variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Stephen O'Neill for a 9-foot sideline variance from the requirements of the schedule of bulk regulations of the zoning ordinance for a proposed 220 square foot addition. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows. Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Rocco. Rocco, I'm sorry, did you answer?
Aye, aye.
Thank you. And myself, aye. So your motion carries, Mr. O'Neill. So now you'll deal with the building department, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, and item number 3, Appeal 3993, Hector Murillo. Hector Murillo, 7 Sherwood Lane, Stormville, is requesting a 2-foot height variance for an existing 6-foot fence located in the front yard pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, Mr. Murillo. Oh, you're there. Good, cool. So we had an opportunity to review your application last month. You actually are on a corner lot. So you have Sherwood Lane on one side of your property and May Crescent Road on the other. You already have the 6-foot fence is there, but most of your fence is actually 4 foot. Okay. It's just this portion that kind of straddles your driveway on the one side, on the Sherwood Lane side. That is the 6 foot, and then you've got a small section on the other side of your house that's 6 foot, and then it leads into a 4-foot line. I don't remember asking this question, but you have the weirdest fence line looking at it from property. So I'm going to guess it has something to do with the topography of your land, but I'm just curious why this fence line is so bizarre. You have to unmute yourself.
I don't know. That was existing. So I don't know what the previous owner came up with as far as the layout to that fencing. It's weird.
On paper, it just looks so bizarre. That's all.
No, it is.
What led to it? So, all
I
right,
thought maybe
that's
the
fine.
tree line or something.
Yeah, it could be. It's bizarre, but we did talk about the fact that on the survey, which is done in 2019, so it is, it is pretty current. There was a deck that was crossed out, and you mentioned that you recently closed on this property, and the title company actually made you take that deck down, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that deck does not exist, and we didn't see that there was anything else of concern on here. My guess, based on the 53-foot measurement to the corner of the house, is this fence line doesn't even start until about 40 feet into your property. So definitely not a site distance issue or anything like that. So are there any comments or questions from board members regarding this request?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, so is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Hector Murillo, 7 Sherwood Lane, Stormville, requesting a 2-foot height variance for an existing 6-foot high fence located in the front yard? And Mr. Murillo, did you get any neighbors to send the letters in?
No.
Okay, and Jackie, you'll have to remind me at the appropriate time. I know we have letters, but I've already got like 6 different things open on my computer, so and a pile of papers in my lap. That's why I'm not thrilled about doing meetings like this, but. So if there's anybody who wishes to speak about this application, if you're on the phone, press *9, or if you're on the computer, just use the raise hand feature.
So I promoted Jim McGee to speak.
Okay. So Mr. McGee, you're welcome to speak.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Jim McGee. I'm on 50 May Crescent Road, Stormville, New York. I've been on this property since 1972. I bought the property primarily because it was a nice, quiet residential area, undeveloped. And over the years, it has developed. And it's developed in a way where different people have, in my view, deteriorated the property by ignoring the storage of vehicles and tractors and boats and even storage bins on actually in the front of the property. I know that Mr. Murillo is not have this issue, but if you look at 11 May Crescent Drive, 51 May Crescent Drive, and 59, you will see that people have all kinds of vehicles in front of their property, RVs and boats of that nature. And at the same time, they have 6-foot fences in front of the property with no gates to allow these vehicles to be moved to the back of their property. And this is part of my concern with the current appeal, that there is a 6-foot fence on both sides of the property, in front of the property, and there's no way to allow storage of vehicles to go into the back of the property. At the present time, if you look at you do a Google search, you will see that up until last year, there were trees of various sizes in front of the property at 7 Sherwood Lane, and partially blocked any type of vehicles that were going to be stored there. But for some reason, they have recently been removed, this tree coverage. So the place is wide open, and the parking area in front of the house has been greatly expanded in front of the house. Currently, there's, on any given night, there's either 5 or 6 vehicles in front of the house. I don't know whether that's permanent or it's going to continue. I don't know whether the plan is to, with the enlarged driveway areas, to allow other vehicles to be placed in front of the house. But I would greatly prefer that the vehicles be moved beyond the other side of the fence in some way, either from the right side or the left side of the house. And I also would prefer that there be some type of, instead of I have no idea why the trees were taken down that provided some blockage in front of the house, but there's no blockage whatsoever currently in front of the house where they can maybe install some evergreens or some other type of things where you're not looking directly at the 5 or 6 cars as you drive by in front of the house. What's happening, in my opinion, over the years, people have just ignored the zoning requirements and the need for aesthetics in the area, and they've really are reducing the value of the properties, in my view, in the house. Particularly, I'm going to be in a position where I'm going to be selling my house in the next 5 or 10 years, and I don't want it to look like, quite frankly, a junkyard where people store things. I know it's convenient for them, and I have never complained in my 44 years up here about people, primarily because the vehicles have been placed in back of their property, or the tree line, the trees in front of the property hid any vehicles that were being stored. This is not the case right now in Sherwood, in 7 Sherwood. What I would be looking for is some type of restriction on a number of vehicles that can be placed in front of the house. I also would be looking for some type of gates to be placed on the 6-foot drive fence, where if it's going to be boats and RVs of that nature, that they can be moved to the back of the house and not stored in the front.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Murillo, how long have you lived at this property?
It's going on almost 2 years now.
Okay, so were you the one who took down the trees that he's talking about?
Well, yes, I did, because they fell on my house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they were over my house. So, and my wife is really scared about the trees, so I had to take them down. You know, I apologize for that, but I'm planning on fixing. I've been fixing the front of the house, because when I bought the house, it was foreclosed and it was horrible. So I've been fixing it little by little.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make it look ugly, you know, bring the property value the way he says down. I'm trying to bring it up. So I'm trying to make it look nice little by little.
Okay.
I can't do it overnight myself, but little by little, I'm fixing everything.
Okay, understood. And again, you told us earlier that you were not the one who put up this fence, so.
Correct.
So you do have a paved driveway, a paved area in your front, you know, in that front area of your house there. So, like, did you expand that driveway area? You were entitled to it. There's no reason why you couldn't, but.
Yeah, just a little. Because
okay,
I like to play basketball, so I expanded it a little bit to do a basketball. Okay. I have a little.
There's nothing wrong with expanding your driveway, okay? Especially where you've done that. It's close to your house itself. So,
right.
So I guess the issue is, are you storing vehicles in the front of your house that by code should not be there? An RV
Yeah.
should not be there, recreational vehicle, a boat, you know, things of that sort should not. Cars are perfectly allowed to be.
I only have cars. I love cars. I collect them, and I fix them, so I have a lot of cars.
And they're all registered.
Correct.
Okay, because you're not allowed unregistered vehicles, so. Okay, so are you planning on doing any landscaping that might screen some of the fencing?
Yes, I am.
Cars as he mentioned.
Yes.
Where are you proposing it, along Sherwood Lane? Where are you proposing?
Along Sherwood Lane in front of the home, because I want to get some blockage too. I just want to fix the landscaping first, and I'm going to pick out some trees so they could just plant them in front of the home.
Okay. Do you have a sense of a time period of when you'd expect to plant those trees?
Probably by the end of the summer, hopefully.
Well, you can't plant trees in the summer.
No, but I know.
You want them to live. So maybe by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, yeah, by the end of the year.
Or even next spring. I mean, I don't want to lock you into doing it if you're doing other improvements this year, because
more or less, because
the availability of them might. Right now, getting any building materials and any, you know, things is just, the price, number one, is through the roof, and even the availability of some things. So I don't want to have you commit to something that you would not be able to deliver on through no fault of your own. Okay.
Correct.
So, but okay, so I think as long as we include some screening along Sherwood Lane. Is it appropriate to put screening on May Crescent too, or no? You're just really thinking?
No, May Crescent it has trees all along the side of the road.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right.
And
Michael oh, go ahead, Jim.
I was just looking at along Sherwood. I mean, I don't know how much room is between the driveway and the fence, but based on I'm forgetting a speaker, I think more he would be interested in some brushes type of screening between the Sherwood and the parking area. How much space is between your driveway and the 6-foot fence now?
About 4 feet.
I wouldn't think it'd be that much, so I guess we could do some there, but if you.
No, I did what the speaker, the neighbor asked about screening of the cars, not of the fence.
I agreed, so, I mean, I don't know how much that's.
Along Sherwood makes sense.
Wanted along Sherwood, not along the fence itself.
Right.
Yeah, just
Mr. Murillo, is that where you were talking about putting screening along Sherwood Lane? I thought that's
what. Sherwood Lane, correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah, in front of the home.
Okay, good. Thank you. Or somewhere close to the property line. Just please watch out for any overhead utility lines, if there are any. You just want to make sure you stay clear of any utility lines.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from board members?
I'm good.
We have another speaker as well.
Okay, thank you.
Liz Horan is the speaker.
All right. So the next speaker, please state your name and your address, and then if you could give us your comments, we'd appreciate it.
I'm sorry, is this for me, Liz Horan?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
So you raised your hand. Was it by accident?
No. Thank you. Yes, Liz Horan on 22 Sherwood Lane. Hi, good evening. My question is, the existing fence, is this going to be replaced with an 8-foot that he wants a 2-foot? Okay, no, it isn't. All right. So
no.
This fence is to hide all the cars, right? Because I do agree with Jim, there are a lot of cars there. And Hector wants to put this in front of the house. So can I safely assume this will hide the cars?
Okay, so no, let's be clear. The fence is already existing.
Right.
What Mr. Murillo is telling us is that he did not put it up.
Right.
But it is in violation of what the zoning allows. And so that's why he's before us to clean up his ability to keep that fence.
Okay.
And so what we talked about was allowing him to keep the fence, but asking him to put some screening along Sherwood Lane to be able to, some vegetation, some trees, some arborvitae's, I don't know, some kind of
Right, correct. Yeah, the tree
There.
did hit his house, the back of the house.
Yeah, it was something
Right.
that's not going to grow to be too tall to put the, any level of fear in his wife again about
Right.
falling on the house, but something that would provide screening so that, again, you as neighbors don't have to see what he's doing in his driveway.
Okay.
All right, but the fence, he's not talking about any additional fence. He just is trying to, for lack of a better word, legalize the fence that's there. That's
Understood.
already. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for joining us this evening. All right, Michael, any other speakers?
I see Mr. McGee raise his hand again.
Okay, Mr. McGee? Mr. McGee, if you wish to speak again, go ahead.
Well, Mr. McGee, you have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. All right.
We can
I
hear
haven't used this before. Okay, unmute. All right. I don't mean to be argumentative, but the trees that were removed, if you looked at the pictures that were taken last year and are on the Google site of 7 Sherwood Lane, you can see that they're pretty far from the house and they could not have hit the house, fallen on the house. My issue here is that in addition to the trees being removed, over the last couple of weeks, the driveway has been extended extensively up towards the Sherwood Lane portion and is actually now being coated over. Mr. I'm sorry, his name, Mario.
Mr. Murillo?
Murillo.
Mr. Murillo has indicated he's a car collector. Well, he's got 6 cars there now, and even if there's registers there, that's fine. But how many more cars are going to be put into this expanded area that he has just created?
It was for me to play basketball with my kids.
Mr. Murillo, sorry, please let Mr. McGee speak. Okay, at the appropriate time, we'll let you speak. Okay, thank you. Mr. McGee, go ahead.
My point is that, is there any way to get some type of assurances that there won't be, even 5 and 6 cars seems like a lot of cars to me to be in front of somebody's house each day, that there won't be more than that's going to exist. And if that's the case, I see no reason to move the fence up then to the front and put the cars behind the fence that's there. And that really would be my preference, or put a gateway in the fence area so the cars can be moved to the back of the property and not be in the front of the property.
Okay, thank you. Again, for the making sure we're all clear, he is not proposing a new fence, a new 6-foot fence or otherwise. Okay, he is just asking to clear up the fact that he has an existing 6-foot fence on the property located where it is. Okay, he would be allowed as of right a 4-foot fence without having to come before this board. He's asking to be able to keep the 6-foot fence that the previous owner must have installed. So he's not asking to move the fence. He is offering to put landscaping up to be able to screen the expanded parking area that he, has said. I believe both of you neighbors have gotten his attention to what he's parking in his driveway. Okay, so I believe based on his, watching him this evening, that you have gotten his attention, that, you are all impacted by, what you see and the view of his driveway. So I believe Mr. Murillo will work with this board in terms of, providing a landscape plan or whatever it is that might be appropriate to make sure that he puts in place some screening to limit any detrimental view to the neighborhood.
Will the landscaping?
Well enough, Mr. Murillo?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McGee, go ahead.
Will the landscaping plan be included as part of the zoning approval?
We can certainly ask for that, yes.
Okay. What about the limit? What about the limits on a number of cars that can be parked?
As long as they are registered cars, the town code does not have a limit on how many cars.
So he could put 20 cars in front of his house and it would be.
Again, that's, Mr. McGee, that's not what's before this board this evening. All right, the review of this board this evening is about a 6-foot fence. That's what we're here about.
Well, how does one bring up the issue of the number of cars stored in front of somebody's house or other types of vehicles?
If you think there's a violation, which would mean there's an unregistered car there, then you can go to the building department and the zoning inspector. So, but right now it's truly, that's not the issue that's before this board.
Okay, understand.
All right, that's all. Any other speakers regarding Mr. Murillo's application?
There are no other speakers.
Okay, so Mr. Murillo, I think what we'd like to do is have you do a landscape plan so you get some sense, can give us board some sense of how many plantings, where you're proposing to do them. The fence is already there, so it's not like you're looking for our permission to put something up, and get it up this spring or summer.
Right.
So I think it's appropriate for us. It's not the first time we've asked for a landscape plan. It certainly is within the purview of the board, given the fact that, we've heard concerns from your neighbors, about the expanded area of your driveway. So if you could identify for us where you propose to put plantings, the spacing of them, what the plantings will be, okay? And then, again, we probably, just given the nature of the ability to, the timing associated with when you can do planting and have it survive well, and the availability of planting, because just of the circumstances, with the pandemic and everything, I think we'd give you a year to actually get it done. But I think it would be appropriate for you to come back next month and be able to tell us all exactly what you're proposing to do.
Okay.
You could submit that landscape plan ahead of time. That would be really helpful so that the board can have a chance to look at it, so that we're more prepared for when we actually meet with you again next month. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right, great. Anything else you want to add before we close your application? Okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing to next month?
Before we go.
Yeah,
to
go ahead, Aziz.
The neighbor had mentioned that the applicant has expanded his paved driveway. So when you do the proposal of the landscaping in front of Sherwood Avenue, it would also help us to sort of know how far, roughly how much you've expanded it. So is there enough room for shrubbery, trees, or whatever you plan to do? Do you have space or not? So I would like to just mark it up so that this is be clear to everybody that you have expanded it by 4 feet or 8 feet or 6 feet or whatever the amount is for your paved driveway from what you gave us from your map from 2019.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Murillo, if you can take your survey and draw on there where the expanded paved area would be, that would be really helpful. I do agree with Aziz that it's obviously the neighbors are, and you've said you've done this recently, so it's probably not showing up on the survey that we have.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so I have a motion from Rocco to adjourn till the next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Aziz. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, so Mr. Murillo, we will see you again next month.
All right, not a problem.
All right, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Aye.
Just writing a note. We need a landscape plan. And adjourned. Okay, after I open the next public hearing, I actually have to go and turn a light on in this room because I'm starting to sit in the dark. All right, item number 4, Appeal 3995, Helena Jubiska. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Helena Jubiska, 346 White Pond Road, Stormville, is requesting a variance for an existing 610 square foot workshop in a detached accessory structure greater than 350 square feet pursuant to section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Good, thank you. We are opened. All right, Mrs. Jubiska, if you are here, could you please identify yourself so that we can promote you so we can hear you?
Yes, hello, this is Halina Jubelska and
Jubiska. Okay, thank you.
Jubelska, yes. And I'm at 346 White Pound Road.
Yes, okay. You know what? It's on my apologies, but it's on my agenda with an I, not an L. That's why I was saying it wrong. Okay.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, so
No
Jackie,
worries.
we need to correct the agenda first off to have, so that we get that corrected. All right, so what we talked about last time around was that you and the gentleman who was with you, I believe it was your husband, actually built this structure a couple years ago. It's being used as kind of a shed. He said he's storing things in there, but because it really didn't meet the definition of a shed, because I guess it's got a concrete floor and everything, and it's little, well, 610 square feet. It's not a horribly big shed, but that it is, and I guess there's another shed on your property. Maybe that's it. That's why we were calling it another detached accessory structure.
I believe they may have a detached garage. Is that correct?
Yes, there is another garage on the property.
There's another garage. Okay.
Yes, and it was built in 1999, something like
You
that.
say
89.
You say 90, well, you told us 97 or 98.
Yes, so something like that, very long time ago, yes.
But you also say that it's not really visible to any neighbors or anything like that. So
That's right.
that is what you told us last time around. All right, any comments or questions from board members? Because
I'm good.
I know we reviewed this last time around and we were told it was vinyl siding that was almost the color of the house, which has cedar siding. It does not have heat or water. This is, oh, okay, we talked about the fact that this is a flag lot, and that's why the property is actually not visible to anybody on the road or
Yes.
your neighbors. And you have watershed, but New York City watershed property behind you. So again, there's no likelihood of any neighbors being impacted by this in the future. And then we had confusion about the fact that you were showing on your survey 2 wood stoves, and it was really the one that was located in one specific location, but you were moving it to
Yes.
a location. So it's really 1 wood stove, but it was just showing the 2 locations of it.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so just to get all of that on the record.
Yeah, and
So
just
any comments?
the County of Putnam is on the other side that would be closest to these structures. according to the
Yes, you're right, according to the survey, yep. All right, so any comments or questions from board members?
Nothing further.
Okay, so is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Halina Jubelska, 346 White Pond Road, Stormville, requesting a variance for an existing 610 square foot workshop in a detached accessory structure greater than 350 square feet? If so, please press *9 on your phone or raise your hand at the bottom of the screen. And I really have to go turn the light on. I literally was getting to the point where I couldn't see my own writing anymore.
No hands are raised.
Nobody? Okay, so guys, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay.
Oh, I just saw somebody raised a hand at the last second.
All right, well, we didn't take a vote, so the public hearing is still open, so.
Okay, I'm gonna promote now Deborah Lasky.
Okay. Ms. Lasky, you're welcome to speak.
Hi, yes, Debbie Lasky. I live at 338 White Pond Road. I just want to make sure, it is true, we cannot see the structure. We live in front of the neighbor. We can't see that structure, but this variance will only affect this structure, right? It won't allow for any additional structures to be built on the property within our property line, correct? I just wanted to clarify that.
Correct. This is to allow them to keep this existing structure. They're not making it bigger. They're not doing anything to it. It's just to allow them to keep this structure.
Okay, all right, then that would be fine.
Okay, thank you for.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so seeing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Thank you. And the resolution?
Rocco, do you have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Good.
Appeal number 3995, Alina Zubelska has a request for a 260 square foot variance from the requirements of section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance for a detached accessory structure greater than 350 square feet. Location is 346 White Pond Road in Stormville. Zoning District R3, and resolution is being offered by zoning board member Rocco Limatone. Whereas the applicant built an existing 610 square foot workshop on the property in the late 1990s. Whereas the applicants are removing one of the existing sheds on the property. And whereas the existing accessory structure does not have electric or water connections. And whereas the property is a flag lot and is predominantly surrounded by wooden areas, shielding it from the view of other property owners. And whereas this is a type 2 action under SECRA, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on May 20th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on May 25th, 2021, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the property will remain residential in nature. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means due to pre-existing location of the accessory structure and the layout of the property. The variance could be deemed substantial, but this is mitigated by the fact that the area is heavily wooded. The variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves request by Halina Zubelska for a 260 square foot variance from the requirements of section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance for a detached accessory structure greater than 350 square feet. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of this resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner. Resolution second by?
Yeah, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aziz. So votes as follows: Jim,
Aye.
Aziz,
Aye.
Rocco,
Aye.
and myself. So your motion carries. You're all set. Now now I guess you just have to get your CC from the building department for this. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, so item number 5, Appeal 3996, L. Jeffrey Kelly. L. Jeffrey Kelly, 9 Creekside Road, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 19-foot sideline variance and a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed 1,296 square foot detached garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. 60% of the footprint of the house is 1,327 square feet. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. So just to be clear, the public hearing is not about the size of the garage necessarily, because he is allowed it by code because it's less than 60% of the footprint of the house. But it is about the fact that he needs the variance for both the sideline and the rear line. Now, the needing of the variance could very well be connected to the size. So in that regard, we, may need to look at the size. Can I just ask who is here for this application? I see Mr. Jeffrey Kelly, because I think Brian Stokoza was here last month too. So I just wanted to be sure whether Brian was joining us or not.
I was expecting Brian.
Okay. So Brian, if you're one of the participants, if you can just raise your hand so Michael can promote you. All right, well, let us get this on the record at least. So you have an existing residence here. You have a septic in the front of your driveway to the left. It's a relatively level piece of property. But after you get past the driveway, the grade of your property changes pretty significantly. So what you told us is that where you're proposing to put the garage is really the only place on your property that you can put a garage of this size, okay? And that you are looking to use this garage for the storage of automobiles and equipment. So what we're proposing is a 10-foot bay with a 16-foot door. You have said it's going to be a 24-foot high structure, or I think Brian said that last month. That there will be a second store that you did not want because of the fact that it's a significant 12-foot off the ground. You did not want to be worrying about drop-down stairs for 12 feet. So you were asking for a full staircase to be able to get up there. But that really, you were just looking to use the second story for like storage of holiday decorations and things of that sort. Normal, it would not be residential, but it would just be used for storage. We asked about water and electric. You said you would be bringing electric to this garage because you want to be able to have a garage door opener for the garage doors. So obviously that makes sense. Part of what you told us last time around is that a portion of the garage foundation is going to act as a retaining wall because again, the elevation change of your property. And so I'm not sure I guess the exterior will match the existing house, but other than that, I'm not sure that there was anything. Oh, we did talk about this. You have other structures that were showing on your survey. That's what we need to be clear about, because you had said either you would move the swing set or you were going to take it down. And so I just need to get on the record. What are we doing about the swing set?
We're going to ask for another variance. I've spoken to all my neighbors and they think it's crazy to take it down.
Okay, there's a gym set and a swing.
It's all the same. I don't know what the distinction between the two is. It's a play set.
Are they connected?
Yes.
Okay, what they're probably just doing is showing the footprint of what's actually on the ground, not showing the connecting bars or whatever goes across.
Of course, but I just want to make clear that it's just like you see in the backyard of any house. Yeah, I see no designation between swing and gym. It's all just a kid's play set.
That's fine. Understood.
Okay.
But there's no note on your survey about how far away it is from the property line. So,
I provided Jackie with a newer survey Thursday.
Oh,
Friday.
okay. Sorry. Again, remember we're operating from multiple sites, so
you don't have to apologize. I'm here to remind you.
Thank you. Let me go back to
it's a lot. And the other thing I want to make clear is everything that you just rehearsed is on the survey and or the construction drawings. Right. So the height of the building, everything was, yeah. So if anybody needs to reference any of those facts, it's all right there.
All right, don't need that. I've got way too many things open on my septic set. We've got a couple things for tonight's surveys. This is Kelly. Appeal. All right,
I can share it if that's helpful.
Yes, that'd be helpful.
Right.
yeah, that would be helpful. Sorry, because there are
No.
so many new surveys came in.
So you should be seeing it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so it is 6.
So the one smaller square is 6.2, and the larger square, which I think is insignificant at this point, if the other one's closer, is 14.8.
Okay.
I
So
can see that.
so the 6 from 25, so that needs a 19-foot variance at its shortest point. Michael, when we approved going to public hearing last month, we did not include the swing set. So but you're saying you have support from your neighbors? Did neighbors submit letters?
Yes. So I have letters from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different neighbors about the garage and the swing set.
Okay, good.
I do not have letters, just to be perfectly transparent, from my neighbors to my immediate left and immediate right. The one that's affected by the swing set is semi-permanently living in Ohio at this point. I've spoken to him at length. He has no objections to either.
Okay.
And then the neighbor on my right, looking from my house, 11, which is affected by the garage, is the same situation. I've spoken at length. I've shown them the engineering drawings. They have no objections.
Okay. All right, that's helpful.
This variance can be grandfathered in because this property, the hearing for this property was publicly noticed. So the board has the ability to grant another variance if it'd like.
Okay. And what did we talk last month? I thought we talked about this frame shed that we thought.
So as my understanding, Brian said the frame shed is a shed and the setback is 15 feet for those.
That's right. It got changed. So that's good. Yeah, the building envelope that he's showing, the buildable area, it's outside of that. That's why he kind of.
Yeah. So I understand that line, that thick dotted line, to be today's setback, right? 50 in the back, 25 on the sides.
Well, it would be for all other structures. So it's a 50-foot rear line requirement, but not for sheds. So, okay.
Yeah, that's how I understand it. And the shed was here when we bought it, so I can't speak to much other than that.
Yep. Okay. All right.
And then, like I said last time, the swing set's been up for at least 5 years.
Okay. So comments or questions from board members?
The only thing I would note for the record, which was, I don't think included in your comments, was that as far as location, arguably it would seem maybe it could be moved up closer or something, but his well is going to be very close to the garage, and really to have access for a service to that well, if it's necessary, it needs to be set back enough from the house to allow people to get in and maintain it. So I don't really see any other location on this property that the proposed garage can go in.
Thank you. Or comments or questions from any other board members? Okay, so is there anyone here to speak for or against the request from L. Jeffrey Kelly, 9 Creekside Road, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 19-foot sideline variance and a 5-foot rear line variance and a 19-foot sideline variance? Well, for the 19-foot and 5-foot rear line variance are for the detached garage. And then he also needs a 19-foot sideline variance for the swing set, the existing swing set. If you wish to speak, please press *9 or hit the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen.
No hands are raised.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, the letters that you have from your neighbors, do we have those letters? Does Jackie have them?
She does. She had them last week around Thursday.
Did you get them to us? This is one of those where Jackie can't talk, so, or we can't hear Jackie. Neighbor letters of support. I found your survey. Of course, now I found it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh my God. All right, but hold on.
Yeah, I found mine and then he put his screen up and it covered it.
Well, the funny thing is this is labeled neighbor's letter of support and it's the survey.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't open it before, because it was this, it was like not labeled, well, because it was labeled as the,
Yeah, the initial email chain included the letters and then it followed up with the survey.
okay, so let me see if. All right, I don't see that I got the letters, but hold on, let me make sure they were not sent to me. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to read into the record, Mr. Kelly, the names of the people who sent you letters and the general sense of whether their letter is supportive or not, because I don't see that I have the records, the letters here.
Right. So to be clear, I prepared letters, gave them to them, they filled them out.
That's fine.
Yep. So I'll read a letter and it is the same for all of them. But it reads, as a neighbor to 9 Creekside Road, residing at insert address, I'm writing to express my support of the proposed variance to reduce the required setback for the construction of the proposed detached garage at 9 Creekside Road. As designed, the proposed detached garage will be consistent with the character of the neighborhood and presents no apparent negative impact on the surrounding community. In sum, I have no concerns or objections to the construction of the proposed detached garage at 9 Creekside Road with the requested 19-foot sideline variance and 5-foot rear line variance. So I have letters from 10 Creekside, which is across the street directly at the end of my driveway. Name is Brian Crookston, my apologies. I have a letter from 8 Creekside Road, which is again across the street, more closer to 376, from Elaine and Jeremy Del Pia. I have a letter from 8 Entry Road, which is a neighbor behind us, by the name of Joe Jarvis, if I can read the signature. I have one from 12 Entry Road, again behind us. All these properties that I spoke to at Entry Road, I believe, touch my property or are very close to it.
Okay.
And that is Karen Nunez. And I have one from 20 Creekside Road, which is down the street. They happened to be talking to us when I was gathering letters. Yeah, right. From the Houstons. And then the last one I have is 10 Entry Road, which is directly behind us to the northeast. Joseph Ventura, my apologies.
Thank you for doing all that due diligence ahead of time. Okay.
And would you like, I have a similar letter for the play sets. It's the same concept, same people.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, if you don't mind, read it into the record, please.
Sure. As a neighbor at 9 Creekside Road residing at insert address, I am writing to express my support of the proposed variance to reduce the required setback for the swing set / gym currently located in the backyard at 9 Creekside Road. The swing set / gym was erected over 5 years ago and has neither affected the character of the neighborhood nor caused any negative impact on the surrounding community. In sum, I have no concerns or objections to the approval of the requested sideline variance for the swing set / gym currently located in the backyard at 9 Creekside Road. The same individuals.
Okay, thank you. So one last request to the board members. Are there any comments or questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, and Michael, any other members of the public that wish to speak? Because we did already put out the call for it, right?
Right, I don't see any other hands.
Okay, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
No.
Did I hear a motion?
Yeah, I made the motion.
Okay.
Oh, second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, good, thank you. And resolution?
Got it here up. Ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Appeal number 3996, applicant is L. Jeffrey Kelly. Request for I, a 19-foot sideline variance, and 2, a 5-foot rear line variance from the requirements of section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. And the
Rocco, we're also adding in a 19-foot sideline variance for a gym and play set. So please, if you don't mind adding that in. Thank you.
In addition, a 19-foot sideline variance for the gym and swing set from the requirements of section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance and the scheduled bulk regulations for 1,296 square foot detached garage.
It's not 2,000 square feet.
1,296 square foot detached garage.
Correct.
Location is at 9 Creekside Road, Hopewell Junction. Resolution offered by zoning board member Rocco Limatone. Whereas the applicant has applied for a building permit to construct the detached garage, and whereas the detached garage complies with the requirement that the size of the detached garage is no more than 60% of the square footage of the footprint of the principal structures. And whereas the proposed location is the only feasible area due to the slope of the property, and since the driveway would lead to it. And whereas this garage will not be connected to heat or water. And whereas this is a type 2 action under SEQA, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on May 20th, 2021. And whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing on May 25th, 2021. And whereas the zoning board of appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the property will remain residential in nature. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means due to the slope of the property. The variances could be deemed substantial, but this is mitigated by the fact that the proposed garage will be located in a logical location at the end of the driveway. The variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the request of L. Jeffrey Kelly for 1, a 9-foot sideline variance, and 2, a 5-foot rear line variance, and 3, a 19-foot sideline variance for a swing set and gym set from the requirements of section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance and the scheduled bulk regulations for a 1,296 square foot detached garage. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner. Resolution second by zoning board member.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All votes as follows: Jim,
Aye.
Aziz,
Abstain.
okay, Rocco,
Aye.
and myself, aye. So we have the 3 votes that we need, so we're good, okay? So Mr. Kelly, you're all set?
Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Have a good evening.
You as well.
All right, item number 6, Appeal 3997, Thomas Farney. Thomas Farney, 90 Moonlight Drive, Stormville, is requesting a 77 square foot area variance for a proposed 960 square foot detached garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. 60% of the footprint of the house is 883 square feet. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Good, thank you. All right, so the public hearing is opened. Is Mr. Farney present?
Thomas and Linda Farney are present.
Okay, thank you. So last month we had the opportunity to review your application. You are asking for a garage that you said you wanted to use for vehicles and storage. You said it was going to be 2 bays and would give additional area for ATVs. Now, it has come to our attention that you are using your property to ride ATVs, which is a violation of the, town code. So, we do have an issue. I understand the building department has now issued a violation on your property. So technically, we shouldn't be pursuing this application except for the fact that the neighbors were all noticed. So I want to be courteous to your neighbors. I do understand that you did due diligence and spoke with your neighbors about the garage and the size of the garage and the variance needed for the garage. And your neighbors are in support of the garage, but they are not in support of the operation of the ATVs and trails and stuff like that that were made here. And it's been kind of hinted to us that part of the use of this garage would be to service ATVs, maybe even potentially as a business, which again is also not allowed. So I think we need to really understand what you're asking for this garage for.
All right, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
All right, that is a complete false statement. It would not be for a business or servicing the ATVs. To give you a little background, we did speak with one of the identified complainants on the matter at great length. After the initial observance of the alleged violation, and we assured them that it would not take place again, and it has not. We also did due diligence to try to prevent any others unknown to us that may trespass by putting up police banner tape at points of access on these alleged trails. The garage is for vehicles. I supplied photos for last month that showed the outside of our house as well as the inside of the garage, where you can see 4 vehicles, a Mercedes convertible, a Ford Raptor, my wife's Palisade, as well as a unmarked police vehicle. These are all stored outside because we have no room inside the garage. So we have taken steps to mitigate the issue with the trails. We are also in discussion with our neighbors to come to an amicable solution. We are open to suggestions from them, and we are striving to work together to remedy this.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure you can come up with something better, like no trespassing signs or other things rather than police tape. Again, this is a residential area, so that was one of the police tape was another thing that was raised to our attention of concern. So
How big is the property overall?
Approximately 13 acres, but just to touch what the lady said, we did go to Home Depot to try to find no trespassing signs, and they were unavailable, sold out. We saw some posted signs, but we didn't know if that was proper for the property. So to just try to take some immediate action, that was the first thing that came to mind, but we did look into that.
okay, we appreciate that. That's and I mean, it's probably helpful for your neighbors to understand that your intention of putting that up was to limit trespassers coming on to the property. So.
And do the posted signs say no trespassing as well?
They do, but they also talk about hunting and fishing. So we don't want to give anybody the wrong idea, since it's not listed ATV riding, that they would be exempt and could go on it. So we want something more precise.
You can post it for no hunting and stuff if you want. You can always give people permission to hunt if you wish.
We just want to be good neighbors. If our neighbors have a problem with ATV riding, we want to make sure that stops. So we want to focus on the problem at hand. So it's something that was more specific, as in no trespassing, we think would be more applicable in this situation.
I wonder if you probably could order the signs online, just, to be able to put something up so that you have, number one, you get enough signs to be able to mark the areas of, access and egress. So, but again, I think it is helpful for your neighbors to understand that your intention of putting the tape up was to offer a more immediate solution, and the fact that you did look for signs and they just weren't available. So
I'm sorry to cut you, but you actually are correct. We did order them online to Amazon. We're just waiting for them to arrive.
All right, great. Okay, so we did talk about the fact that you were not going to have any water, electric, or heat in this garage. So again, that also probably precludes your ability to operate a business out of there if there's no water, electric, or heat. So I don't know, comments or questions from board members?
Yeah, I don't think I have any, but I think perhaps we're forestalled until it's clear that the violation is resolved.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is allow the neighbors who may have joined us this evening to have the opportunity to comment so they wouldn't have to come back.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I do agree. That's why I stated up front to make sure everybody was aware of the fact that there has been a violation now issued on the property. And so normally we would not have allowed this to proceed to a public hearing, but because we already noticed it as a courtesy, I want to make sure we hear from any neighbors who may have taken the time to join us this evening. So if there are no other questions from Aziz or Rocco, then seeing none.
Motion to continue. I mean,
No, hold on. I want to
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
let me actually ask if there's any public comment first.
Oh, okay.
I have no comments.
Okay, thank you. So if there's anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Thomas Farney, 90 Moonlight Drive, Stormville, requesting a 77 square foot area variance for the proposed 960 square foot detached garage. Please, if you could, press *9 on your phone or hit the raise hand function on the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I promoted somebody with the name BNC ATV.
So who? Michael, say the name again. Sorry.
It's BNC.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
My name is Chris. I run a small business here in Hopewell Junction. Obviously, you can see I sell ATVs. So I have a little bit of interest in the violation that this
Okay,
gentleman.
Chris, we need your last name, please. Okay, and an address of your business at least, so that we know for the record.
Yes, BNC ATV. Thank you for the plug. It's located at 2430 Route 55, Hopewell Junction. Last name is Hilo, Heilloo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, as a small business dealer here in the area, I sell ATVs. Part of me selling ATVs is I have to go to DMV and register all vehicles that come with gas powered. So they all have titles, they all have license plates at the end of my transaction. You said that the gentleman has 13 acres of land, but yet he was in violation of an ATV code. Can you please tell me what that code is that he's in violation of? You did not read it.
No, I didn't read. I'm allowing you to finish your comments.
Oh, so yes, I would definitely like to know what that code is that he was in violation of. Sir, I'm sorry for your troubles having 13 acres of land and not being able to ride an ATV. That's probably still less noise than a lawnmower for recreation use, especially when kids are more on their phones than outside playing. But I'm glad that you somehow worked this out, but it's still a shame. But I need to know what that code is, please. And the comment.
Would you like for me to answer what I've been told so far?
No, hold on. So I can read the violation. You are hereby informed that there exists a violation on the location described.
Rick, can you tell us what was written in the violation?
She's doing that. Let her read.
Yeah, do you want me to read I have the violation in front of me. Do you want me to read it or you want Rick to do it? Michael? Let me finish reading the violation. So then.
Oh, sorry, it doesn't matter to me. I was delayed. There was an issue with my sound.
Okay. So you're the above named
I'm happy to have.
Looks like Michael's freezing for some reason.
Yeah, Michael's freezing. You are hereby informed that there exists a violation at the location described above and that the above named individuals did commit or allow the existing the following offense. Trails into woods on property, wetland and floodplain is on the majority of the property and MS4 outfall and swale discharges into the property. The above noted condition is in direct violation of ordinance and code TC 110 wetland protection, TC 194-16 schedule of permitted uses, TC 194-8 conformance required, and TC 194-48 obnoxious uses. All right, so that is the violation.
Okay, that all seems beatable, because there's a lot of iffy words in there, but thank you for clarifying that. Once again, sir, sorry for your troubles, and keep the kids on machines. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
Yes, Mr. Stu O'Neill.
Mr. O'Neill? Mr. O'Neill, are you looking to speak?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, fantastic. So my name is Stu O'Neill. First off, thank you for allowing me to speak in front of the board here. I am at 481 Route 216, Stormville, New York. Longtime residents, family's been here 100 years. To be perfectly honest, my feeling at this point is that we keep with the current, zoning rules, regulations, and requirements. Therefore, I'm not in favor of granting a variance at this time on this matter.
Okay, the variance that he's looking for is just an extra 77 square foot on the size of his garage. He's still allowed to build a garage, so if he wants a garage, all you have to do would be to shrink it to 77 square feet. So.
Exactly, that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
And we have another hand that's raised.
Okay, thank you. Is there a name?
I believe I just became unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name's Rudy Saporiti. I live at 121 Schluter Drive. And admittedly, I guess similar to the first commenter, I was caught into this meeting by sort of the clickbait of the ATVs not being allowed on the property. If I hear you correctly, just to
okay,
kind
but
of
please understand our public hearing is only about the size of the garage. We are not here for a public hearing about use of ATVs on property. So if you want to comment on the size of the garage, you're welcome to continue.
Understood. I was trying to clarify that currently this individual is not being put out for reasons related to the ATV. They're being talked to, it sounds like in your explanation, because of zoning considerations to wetlands and other drainage considerations on the property.
And
That's
obnoxious uses.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I was trying to clarify as well, because it just came across in the notification more as clickbait regarding the ATV. So I think that's why a lot of people had joined in the way they did. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. All right, Michael, anybody else?
I don't see any other hands.
All right, so Mr. Farney, you did get a number of letters of support from your neighbors. I want to make sure we read those into the record. So.
May I make a comment in reference to the violations?
Sure. Well, hold on. No, we're not here about the violations. We're only here about the size of the garage. If it relates to the use of the garage or the size of the garage, you are welcome to make a comment.
No, I was just wondering then why were they brought up then in the first place? They were here for the garage, not the violations.
The board has a longstanding policy of not approving variances while there are outstanding violations on the property.
Right. That's
Thank you,
exactly
ma'am.
what I stated at the beginning here. Normally, I would not have proceeded with your application, but for the fact that your neighbors were already invited. And so as a courtesy, we wanted to hear from them. I didn't want them come back again. Okay.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
All right. So. Jackie, when you send emails to us, you have to label them better because it's trying to find whose email links up with, the names on the emails are not necessarily people's last names. Okay, so it appears that I have letters that are from I have one from a Rita Pina at 93 Moonlight Drive, dated April 26th, 2021, to whom it may concern. I, Rita Pina, resign at 93 Moonlight Drive in Stormville. Linda and Thomas Farney live directly across the street from me at 90 Moonlight Drive. I understand they are seeking approval to build a 30-foot by 32-foot garage in their backyard. The purpose of this letter is to confirm that my husband, Waldy Pina, and I have no objections or concerns with this. Should you have any additional questions, you are welcome to contact me directly via my cell phone and she lists her number, sincerely Rita Pina. So that's one letter. There's a second letter that was submitted that is dated April 27th, 2021 from John and Donna Hilbert, 104 Moonlight Drive. Dear East Fishkill Zoning Board, we are neighbors to Tommy and Linda Farney. We understand they are in the process of getting approval to erect a 30-foot by 32-foot garage in their backyard. We have no issue with this and consent to the garage being built. Thank you for your time and attention. Very truly yours, John Hilbert and Donna Hilbert. And then there is a third letter with no date on it, but addressed to the East Fishkill Board and Zoning Committee. We are writing in reference to the proposal of our neighbors, Tommy and Linda Farney of 90 Moonlight Drive, regarding a new construct of a 30-foot by 32-foot garage building in their backyard. We have no issues or concerns in regard to this proposal. We are writing to this to assist in your consideration of the proposed garage. Please reach out to us if there are any additional concerns or questions. Best regards, Bill and Susan Townsend, 89 Moonlight Drive. All right, so those are the three letters. Mr. Farney, did I miss any letters that you sent?
No, what we did was we asked the people in direct view or partial view of the proposed garage, since they would be affected most. On one side of us, their next neighbor is probably 2,000 feet away. There is no one behind us. So we took the two people across the street. And even though there's a line of evergreens between us and John, we also asked him.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Are there any other letters that I had to look for? That's all.
No, there isn't, but we did speak to many neighbors on the block and they were all in support.
Okay. So Michael, or is there any other speakers?
I don't see any other hands.
Okay, given the outstanding violation, gentlemen, I think we have to close and, no, let's not close. I think we should adjourn this, right, Michael?
It has to be adjourned, right?
Okay, all right.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Aziz. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So Mr. and Mrs. Farney, we will see you again next month. Okay, hopefully in the meantime, you can clear up the outstanding violations. And then we'll be able to consider your application at that time. Okay.
No, thank you. Unfortunately, due to time restraints and the rising cost of building materials, we will be hit with a excessive fee because of the rise in it. So if this was to go on another month, it would hurt us financially. So if there's nothing the board could do, we would just like to withdraw our application.
Okay, you are absolutely welcome to do that. So
May I make a suggestion that, why don't you keep it pending, see what happens? If you withdraw it, then you'll have to start over. If something changes and it's still there, we can give you a decision. And even if you end up not, I guess, building maybe for a couple months, then you still have the variance, but it's up to you.
James, thank you very much for your thoughtful insight. But we already in contact with the builder, and another 30 days puts us past the lock-in rate. And again, we're looking at maybe a 20 to 30% increase in building material. So I thank you, but just it becomes a financial burden to have an increase substantially.
Yeah.
okay, but Mr. Farney, what Mr. Meyer is suggesting is that even if you don't build this year, if you get the variance, it gives you the opportunity to build it at any point in the future without having to start all over again.
No, we'll probably move within a year. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the application is, we're going to consider the application to be withdrawn. But because we did go to public hearing, there is no refund, so. Okay, so moving on.
So do we have to make a motion? I mean, because he has withdrawn it, do we need to do anything about it?
There's nothing to make a motion on.
Yeah, all we had to do was close the public hearing. So,
Okay, motion to close the public hearing and applicant has withdrawn it. Michael,
is there a second to close the public hearing?
Again, without the application being withdrawn, I don't think we're making a motion on anything.
Right, I don't think you have to make a motion on I don't think you have to make a motion on closing the public hearing. I think you could just accept that motion,
right.
that the application is withdrawn.
Yeah.
Done,
Okay.
no problem. Moving on. All right, I should have mentioned this earlier on. Their item number 7 will not be heard this evening. The applicant asked to be heard for the June meeting. So item number 8 is actually just an application for a refund because that application was withdrawn subsequent to our review. So do I have a motion to agree to the full refund in this case of the Maria Domini Johnny? The one that was asking for the accessory use there.
Yes.
second,
Thank you. All in favor? Raise your hand.
aye,
Thank you. All right, so we're actually up to item number 9. Number 9, Appeal 3994, John Bronzy. John Bronzy, 216 Judith Drive, Stormville, is requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 33-foot by 18-foot above-ground oval pool and a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 41-foot by 32-foot pool deck pursuant to section 194-95 and 194 attachment 3 of the zoning ordinance. Okay, this is a review. It is not a public hearing this evening. So, so with that considered, is Mr. Bronzy, I see that you are present.
Hi, yes, good evening.
I'm just trying, hold on, I just need to get your application out. Okay, so if you don't mind taking us through your application, I would appreciate that, please.
Sure, I had gotten the survey done. One of the issues when I first submitted was I had given a plot plan with a sketch, and the surveyor now we have submitted, I believe, hopefully you guys have that. I have a copy on a PDF if you don't, but that was handed in. And my wife and I want to put in an above ground pool, and the location of it is such because we're kind of caught where there's nowhere really where else to put it. On the survey, you can see the leach fields. And then you can also see the pipe from the septic tank that leads to the distribution box, which we had SJS Contracting came to the site, did a site visit, helped us locate the leach fields based off of the Board of Health plans, and kind of told us in that section is where we're safe. Originally, we were going to do a wraparound porch, but we can't put footings inside the leach field because it would compromise the strength of the footings. But he had said, this was Stephen from SJS Contracting, had said that where the pool lies on only one of the leach fields, it would still be sufficient to run at whatever worst case scenario, 90% capacity if it does become compromised. But rotating it 90 degrees, it would go over 4. And doing a round pool, it would kick out to be at least over 3, which would really compromise the system. And I know one of the gentlemen, I believe it said, what about moving it directly behind the house? But I have the driveway there. So there's really no other place to put the pool. So we're going for the variance. And I did obtain a letter from our neighbors that are impacted directly regarding the setback lines. I emailed that today, so I don't think you have it in front of you, but I do have it. And I certainly could read it to you if you would like. I know we're not at the public discussion yet, but.
Yeah, let's hold that till the public discussion. So yeah, so I was able to pull up your survey. It's nice and colorful. So are you?
I didn't know I paid for color. But
No, it's
it
fine.
is not.
Are those there trees or bushes that are shown? Are those going to be put in, or those are there now?
The ones close to the pool will be put in.
Okay, so that's proposed
Yeah,
landscape.
those are and those would be like arborvitaes. I would want at least 15. Well, I probably would not plant 15 feet, but I would probably get 8 to 10 footers. And then would grow like, I believe it was Rocco had said earlier, they grow like 8 to 12 inches a year roughly.
Oh,
So
arborvitaes grow a lot faster than that, depending upon the variety that you're gonna put in.
that
So,
sounds good to me, but that's what those would be, some sort of evergreen.
okay, so they are labeled as proposed privacy trees. So, okay, so for the record, for those who can't see the survey that you've got, the deck that you're proposing is just around one side of the pool, and it kind of looks like it essentially wraps around half of the curve. And it would be then connecting to the deck that connects to your house. So the deck, this side, you're not looking to propose it all the way around the whole pool. It's just really looking to capture the one side of the pool. And, you know, so it's just by the nature of how it lines up, I guess, with this end of the pool, that's the length that it is. Reducing it really would actually probably look even weirder, just because, well, I'm saying it would, our job is always to try to minimize the variance, but in this case, like reducing the size of the deck, other than just bringing it in line with the other deck that's actually attached, that appears to be attached to your house, it just, I don't see any value to shrinking the size of the deck. So, I guess the only thing we, you know, a 33 by 18 foot pool could be considered by some to be a large pool. So, you know, you already talked about the fact that the round pool would be more invasive to the septic, to the leach fields. So, you know, is there a smaller oval sized pool that you could go to?
I mean, honestly, I think they do have a small one, but like the feedback that I've looked at regarding and pricing wise, it wouldn't be that, it's not much more expensive to get this size, but I have 4 children. So as a family of 6, like just trying to get those extra 3 feet really makes such a huge area difference in the.
So really the next size
area.
down is just 3 feet smaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, I didn't think it would make much of a visual impact. I would still need a variance. And so I really felt that this would be the best solution for my family's needs of 4 children.
Okay, and so on your neighbors on that side, they really, you know, their driveway is on that side of their house. So, you know, any noise coming from the pool, it adds that distance, the width of their driveway before it would actually, you know, impact them, you know, for their use if they're in their own home. So, you know, I think that just makes it a little bit more, you know, a little bit more acceptable, but I don't know, comments or questions from board members?
I have one question. So from the first deck there that's above the septic tank, that deck is there already, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Before I ask an interesting question, I want to ask the distance from oh, well, maybe it's there already. Is that, I see 28.9. So it's 28.9 less that 14 feet is the difference between the 2 decks. Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
I think it would be, because of the angle, I think it would be potentially a little less. I don't think it's that much. And I honestly don't have that measurement, but I could certainly.
You know what I'm talking about? In other words, how much more does this?
How much does it jut out? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, in terms of your neighbor's driveway, like the chairwoman said, the pool is close to there's noise, but also, I mean, mean, you already have a deck there that I'm sure you're hanging out on and making a lot of noise. So I don't know if that's too much of a difference. That's why I was wondering how much more space that deck covers. How the hell do you get that septic tank to drain it?
Well, so what this doesn't capture is the elevation of that deck. It's actually 8 feet high. So the deck that is at the pool is actually connected to, you can see.
I see it in the picture. Okay.
It's actually the deck above it, and the surveyor didn't put it into that. It's abutted against that, but
Right.
it's not, you can't access it. And that was one of the other things. We wanted it to lessen the variance. We could move the pool in tighter to the house, but that's a raised platform, and I wanted to maintain 10 feet from that deck, that existing deck that's over the septic, because God forbid anybody tries anything and tries to. So for safety reasons, I wanted to move it 10 feet away, the pool.
But and the new deck's going to be the same height as the other deck. Of course, taking into consideration the grade, I see the property grades down.
So the deck that's, so the deck, there's really two existing decks. The deck that's above the septic, I'm sorry if I'm repeating this, but just for clarity, there's a deck above the septic, which is, I can walk just under to crouch in my head, so it's about 8 feet high. Then you walk up into the, you're actually walking down to a lower deck, which would really be about 4 feet high, and which towards the driveway. And then there's, it's like a platform or a landing.
Okay, I see that.
I want to attach the proposed deck to that landing. That's only about 3 to 4 feet high, depending on the grade.
I see. So the proposed deck is going to be the height of that landing.
Yeah, which would be the height of the pool.
Right, not the height of the larger deck.
Correct.
I don't have any further questions at this time.
All right, good, thank you. Any other questions from other board members? All right.
I'm good.
Are we okay to let this go to public hearing? Motion advertise?
Motion to advertise. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bronzy, we'll see you next month. Please call Jackie in a day or two to get your signs, okay?
You got it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
We'll see you
Good night.
next month.
Good night.
All right, item number 10, Appeal 3998, John Willman. John Willman, 239 East Hook Road, Hopewell, is requesting a variance for a proposed 8-foot by 10-foot shed to be located in the front yard pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Mr. Willman.
Mr. Willman, okay. I just saw a hand raised.
Is that what it comes up as, Barbara?
Yeah, comes up as me.
Okay.
I'm the computer aficionado.
She's a librarian. Right.
You, in my house, I'd probably have to ask a kid. So, you never, whatever works. All right. So if you don't mind, this is the first time we're seeing your application. If you could take us through what you're looking for.
Okay. We wanted to put a shed on our property for a snow blower and a lawnmower and a few things. One of them is to make room in the garage for a car. And it won't be visible from the street except for the very top of the roof. It's like 160 feet from the road. Our house, it'll be the same as our house, board and battens, 111.
And our neighbors are fine with it?
Yeah, both of our neighbors, we went to Sealander and G, our neighbors, and they say it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay with them.
You're here because it's in the front
Front
yard.
of the house, right. There's a problem with getting to the back of the house. There's not much room on the sides and we already have things there. You know, we have a generator on one side and the structure, you know, garden things on the other.
Comments or questions from board members?
What prevents this garage from being kind of right behind your back of your house? Because I mean, you've got 1.23 acres approximately. So why can't this 8x10 shed go
Get there.
kind of side behind it?
Well, the big problem is getting by the house. There's room in the back. It's difficult, but not impossible to put it in the back because the land goes up. But it would be difficult to get by the house. It's 30 feet, but we have a gas tank on one side and a generator and then gardens on the other. So we'd have to tear up a lot.
Okay, I mean, also you already have existing structures there?
Well, no, we have the generator and the gas tank blocks the south side. And the other side is my vegetable garden and things like that. There's no,
It's not wide. It's not wide
that
enough. You couldn't get a truck through.
But as
I mean, it's showing me as like approximately 30 feet on each side, basically.
That's correct.
Okay, now can you bring the shed closer to your property?
You mean in the front?
No.
Yeah,
the back?
because right now it's 50 feet further away. So is it possible to bring it closer to your property? You know, on the opposite side, not the, I mean, any of the, as close as possible to the property?
You mean in back of the house?
No, still in the front, but closer to the property.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I have a little lawn there. I could move it closer, but.
Well, the site is better where it's planned.
And why is it better?
Yeah, see, the land slopes up from the road to where the shed would be, and then from the shed to the house, from the shed to the house is flat. So if the, you know, I could move it closer to the house in the front. Yeah, I don't know what good that would do.
Well, actually, we have plantings in the way,
yeah, but,
and I have a huge garden not far from it.
yeah, there's a rock
Yes.
close if you start going closer to the house, there's a rock on the north side. So it would have to be further into the middle of the lot. So it would be kind of in the way of the front lawn. You're sitting in.
It would actually be more impactful
It would
and
be
more visible.
Yes, it would.
Lawn. Yeah.
And
Motion to advertise.
Absolutely awful.
Well, from the shed to the road is all trees.
Okay, just please understand, we need to ask these questions to make sure that, you know, we've really
Yes.
vetted this to make sure it makes sense, so.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you really can't see much from the road.
That's correct. If you look up our driveway, you see our neighbor's house.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
really can't see anything, yeah.
All right, so Aziz has made a motion to advertise. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Good, thank you. All right, so Mr. and Mrs. Willman, we will see you next month, but please call Jackie so that in the next couple of days so that she can give you information for your sign.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next month.
Okay.
And last but not least, number 11, Appeal 4000. Wow, Thomas Doyle, 45 Wright Boulevard, Hopewell is requesting a 9-foot left sideline variance for an existing 168 square foot pool deck and a 17-foot left sideline variance for an existing 27-foot above ground round pool pursuant to section 194-95 and 194 attachment 3 of the zoning ordinance. So Mr. Doyle, I see you are here. If you can unmute yourself. And you are trying to show us your survey, maybe? You are still muted, Mr. Doyle.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so if you don't mind taking us through your application, when did you buy your house?
When did I buy it? Originally, 1972.
Okay, so the guess is that you put up the pool?
Yeah. Well, I had somebody put it up back in 1979.
Okay, and so you must have put so you put the pool back in 79. What was the sideline variance required at that time?
I have no idea. I didn't even know there was a sideline variance.
It might have
until
only been 10 feet at the time. Wow.
within a couple of years ago. Actually, it came to my attention when the town issued the amnesty program for sheds.
Okay.
And that brought to my attention that there was no permit ever drawn for the pool or the deck. So
Okay.
to try to get everything into line with the rules, I started the application.
Okay, all right. So again, it's been existing for many, many years. Do your neighbors object to it?
No, not at all.
Okay,
In fact, my neighbor just went through the same thing and everything was fine with him.
yeah, I want to say, I thought we just, not too long ago, maybe last summer or something, we did an application on Wright Boulevard, so not that long ago. Motion to advertise?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, it's motion to advertise, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Doyle, we will see you next month. Just please call Jackie, the clerk, in the next couple of days about your sign, okay?
Okay. Now what happens? I come back again next month?
You'll come back, what it happens is letters will go to your neighbors and we'll just hear, so if you can talk to any of your neighbors or get letters from them.
Oh, okay. So
actually
that
have to
hasn't been
come.
done yet.
No. Because this is the first time the board's even looking at your application. So,
Okay, so I'll get back to Jackie in a day or so.
yes, please.
Okay, thank you so
a
much.
week would be good. All
I
right.
know.
All right, good. Board members,
What-
before we adjourn,
What happened to 399? Appeal number 3999,
I don't know.
Stacy Fletcher.
It's not on my agenda.
No, because I have the paperwork,
It
but
could,
it's not on the agenda.
yeah, you
From
never.
98 to 4,000.
Yeah, it could have been withdrawn. Jackie can't, all she can do is chat with us. So if she can tell us, that would be helpful. I just want to ask, next month, are we ready to go back in person?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
For me.
Fine, back in person, or you want to continue with Zoom?
In person.
Okay, good.
In person.
It's
In
driving me
person.
nuts having all these papers and what's open on the computer and, oh my God, it's like,
When I've had a hard day at work, it's hard not to lie down here.
all right, I just wanted to check, make sure we're all on the same page, so.
A
Motion
motion to adjourn.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
It was good to see everybody. Enjoy your holiday weekend.
Take care.
All right, bye, guys.